This is Hidden Killers Week in Review.
A look back at the most prolific stories of the week.
Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
The evidence is gone, but the nightmare continues. Welcome to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski, featuring former prosecutor and defense attorney Eric Faddis.
It's been 2 years now since the murders in Moscow, Idaho, of 4 college students. Murder that has captivated the country's attention, I think, almost more than any case that we've been following in the last 2 years. And still to this day it does. And we're still a year out, literally, from the trial, likely finding its conclusion of Bryan Kohberger. Joining me to discuss this 2 years in, Eric Faddis, defense attorney, former prosecutor. Here we sit. The defense has made some ground and really made some waves in the last 2 years in this, getting the trial moved now to Boise. It still has not really come forward with anything remotely exonerating on Bryan Kohberger, other than, again, he likes to go for drives at night and look at the stars. What's your thoughts? Here we are sitting 2 years in and still a year before we get to trial.
This is going to be a saga, and these things just last a long time. We've got a quadruple homicide case. We've got kind of a sleepy little college town in which it happened that was turned upside down. And now we have this change of venue, which is a significant win for the defense, I think. And so they're making progress, but are we just sort of staving off the inevitable unless defense has some bombshell exonerating evidence that we just all haven't heard yet?
Why? Let me ask you this. That's a big question. Everybody wants to know what's going on behind the curtains of legality here. In your world, what is happening right now? Why is this going to take until next year? Is it because there's just so many cases in front of this that are backed up? Is it because there's still, I know they're going to continue to investigate this till the very last minute, but at some point it feels like, you've investigated all you can investigate with what exists.
Sure. Yeah. A single murder case can take years. We've got a quadruple murder case. On top of that, I understand that the local authorities there received thousands upon thousands of tips. And not only does the prosecution have to go through those, but the defense has to go through those because they've got to see, hey, is there something exonerating here? Is there an alternative suspect who might be implicated? So that whole thing is going to take a long time. Then you add the death penalty on top of it. It's just like the most serious case there is. And so it's just going to take a long ass time. Yeah.
Do you think we're going to hit August, honestly, on this one? Or, and it keeps getting pushed, not to say it couldn't continue to be pushed. But is it too optimistic to think of August being the trial date?
No, I think we're getting to the point of culmination. I think we're going in that direction. And one thing I'm kind of looking to see. So a lot of times when the prosecution puts the death penalty on the table, that of course gives them insane leverage. And sometimes it induces defense to take a plea whereby they say, hey, if you decide not to kill me, I'll agree to be in prison for the rest of my life. And so I'm wondering if if there are negotiations that we just don't know about that could be taking place as well that are accounting for sort of all of this time invested into this case.
Yeah, that would be very interesting if leading up to this in this next year, suddenly he's guilty, he pleads it, and it's done. I don't know. Do you think Kohberger is capable of that? He seems to, be pretty determined in whatever he does. That's a really weird way of putting it, but he's kind of got that obsessive, narrow-minded way of thinking from everything we understand about him. I don't know.
Yeah, he is. He does appear to be a headstrong individual, although perhaps extremely confused and disturbed. But he was pursuing a PhD in criminology. He's a person who's capable. He's intellectually capable, and I think that he'd be the type to fight it out. He doesn't seem like a person who's just going to roll over and go along with whatever and accept a plea to prison. But no one wants to be executed by firing squad, and so maybe that's going through his mind too.
I would wonder. I mean, or is this all part of his thing of going along for the ride and hoping he gets exonerated or found not guilty, and then he can continue his career in criminal justice and have such an inside look at how everything works from the criminal side to the
maybe you could have him on your show later, Tony, if that happens.
Wouldn't that be lovely? Hey, Bry, how you doing? He'll start a podcast and it'll be wonderful. I mean, it's such a, obviously the families, they want closure, they want justice, and they have to be, drugged through this, but it is simply how our system works. If there is to be, I mean, let's say, through these thousands and thousands of tips, someone does come across an alternative suspect. Is that something we would hear about out here in the public world before this actual trial, or would that be introduced kind of like last minute as the trial starts?
It depends largely on trial strategy and defense strategy. So like me personally, I am usually not inclined to share my investigation with the prosecution, even if it's really strong and helpful, because I don't trust that they're going to do the right thing. I think what they're going to do is receive the information and then try to sort of cover their bases, cross eyes or dot I's, cross T's, and undercut my super strong investigation. So there's a chance that Kohberger, if he does have something, is going to hold it close to the vest and wait until the right time up closer to trial to disclose it, so the prosecution is unprepared to address it.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense, considering we can see how some of these other things work when you throw it out there early and go, hey, look at this. This is pretty exonerating, or a question. And the judge can go, yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Gull, for example, over in Delphi. It's a possibility. And so I get why you would want to keep that close to the chest, no matter how golden that ticket may be. You want to make sure it's getting punched by the right person at the right time.
Exactly.
Yeah. I never thought I'd make a Willy Wonka reference in the Bryan Kohberger case, but there you go.
I know. I didn't realize the case was so whimsical, but I guess in this way.
2 years in, hopefully, by this time next year, we are getting an answer, and the families can. I don't use the word closure, because obviously you don't get that when you lose your kids, but they can find some space to move forward next year. Welcome to the podcast. If you'd like to listen to an ad-free version of this episode and all of our episodes, then search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. That's our premium channel where all of our ad-free and advanced episodes live, all in one place. True Crime Today Premium Plus. Search it on Apple Podcasts and press subscribe. Even try it for 3 days free.
You're in the thick of a true crime saga, every detail sinking in, and then, wham, a commercial about something you couldn't care less about. It's like being served a microwaved dinner at a 5-star restaurant. But it doesn't have to be this way. Go for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts. With True Crime Today Premium Plus, you get uninterrupted, ad-free episodes, extended interviews that dig even deeper into the muck, and early access so you can brag to your friends. It's like ordering the secret menu at a crime buffet. So, search for True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and savor every twisted detail without interruption.